submitting times in Mario games for a solid 5 years now, and after so much time passing, he improved the record by over 700 milliseconds. On paper, this may not sound like much, but for a category as short and optimized as Super Mario Bros. Any %, this is quite a high achievement. There were two notable improvements that would allow Andrew to chop so much time off in just under a year. The first was 4-2. Ever since he started doing runs under the SDA rule set, Andrew had been going for the 4-2 wrong warp that we talked about earlier, but now that trick was being done even faster. This trick involves 3 separate bumps to get the desired screen position, but it was found that this can be done with only 2 bumps. Using a hack that displays Mario's X position, you'll see that without bumping anything, this position locks to 112. If you jump against any kind of wall while facing left, you can get this X position to increase between 7 and 10 pixels each time. To make this wrong warp work at all, you need to end up with an X value of at least 132. 2 and 2 were put together, and if you can get 2 optimal bumps giving you 10 pixels each, it gives you just enough of an X value to barely make this trick work. This does unfortunately make the trick way harder, as you now have 0 pixels of leeway for stopping on and entering the pipe. Previously, 3 bumps gave you 10 extra pixels. Remember though, this is before both the flagpole and bulletville glitches were thought to be possible in real runs. This 2-bump method, dubbed Fast 4-2, was used for quite a while, including Andrew's 458 times. The other answer for his rapid improvements was 8-4. Super Mario Bros. Used a frame rule system to keep track of when to load each level, which is on a cycle of every 21 frames, or 0.35 seconds. Since 8-4 is the last level, every single frame is in play. This factor became quite a pain as Andrew was inching closer to 457. By using Fast 4-2 and trying to optimize 8-4, he chipped away at his current record: 458.78, 458.56, 458.51, 458.34, 458.15, and in October finally got a 458.14. If he had a more optimal 8-4, this would have been a 457, but sadly it wasn't meant to be yet. Not only did Andrew over the year chip away at 20%, but he also did the same in warpless. On January 13th, 2013, Japanese runner Harurubi had lowered the record by a solid 10 seconds, at a 1924, but that time was about to go quite lower than that. Andrew first took
Dame 5 minutos, mamá. Dame 5 minutos.
5 more improvements would follow suit.
No, pero 5 horas.
Remember, he had lowered warpless down to a 1912. 8
Ponle
years
4,
after
3.
his first record in warpless, Andrew had done it once again. 8 years. Think about what you could do in 8 years. I'd hate to look at myself 8 years ago. All I can say is that things have changed quite a bit. Outside of all the original Super Mario Bros. Action, he also beat his time again in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and as always, posted a variety of clips across different Mario titles. I know at this point it probably just feels like I've been rambling for many minutes about this record here and this record that, and trust me, we aren't done with that, but there is just so much in Andrew's catalog over the years that I can't skip over. While there's still a little bit to mention here, I would argue one of his calmest time periods will be around 2014 to 2015, which is where we finally are now. Now I say calm, but moving into March of 2014, Andrew did get what would be his last record in Super Mario Bros. Any % with a 458.09. He unfortunately still couldn't get his desired 457 due to mistakes in 8-4. He would also pick up a couple records in Super Mario All-Stars, and also seemed to play quite a bit more Excite Bike, picking up more records in the process.
Espérame.
He also posted a mix of some other titles, such as Track and Field
Me falta
and
1
Super
minuto
Street
y medio.
Fighter 2. But for once, I don't have anything too deep to get into around this time. With Andrew consistently playing since the early 2000s, you'd think that he would take at least some full break eventually, but it's nice to see that no matter what year you scroll through, there there's still some occasional activity.
¡Ya voy!
Before moving to 2016, Andrew's last upload of the year would be the iconic Pizza Cat. What a classic. Entering 2016, though, would debatably start a new era of the rapidly growing Andrew G saga. While Andrew had already been streaming some of his speedrun and score attempts on the rapidly growing Twitch, 2016, I would say, is when he got really established on the platform. The gameplay, this camera, this banner, and these splits, this layout would go virtually untouched for the next 2 to 3 years, which is when he streamed the most frequently. Between an optimized 8-4 and bullet bill glitch being discovered, both Blubbler, now known as Saradoc, and Darpian had beaten Andrew's any percent time, but by the beginning of 2016, Andrew was already making a comeback and consistently streamed attempt sessions to beat his personal best. In March 2016, he had a personal best that led to one of the most iconic Andrew G voice clips to date.
It's too slow!
To compete with the top, Andrew was finally doing bullet bill glitch, but unfortunately had an unoptimal bullet bill shot. This means he didn't get the optimal frame rule to match the record, but he did have a good enough 8-4 to tie Saradoc in second place at a 457.69. This bested his 457.933 he got not
Bien, me pasé de arco y ok, yo me tengo que ir.
Well, it may have been... something you hear about every day. Just like expected,